Guys, right now, we are literally on the verge of a new revolution. This is because we have the tools that are now working on developments of genetics, 3D printing, biotechnology, nanotechnology, Internet of Things, AI, blockchain, and quantum computers. So first we need to just recap on the evolution from the first industrial revolution so we can get to the fourth industrial revolution and see how every single timeline of these industrial revolutions were a mirror image of each other, just in a different way, in a different technological advance. But every time there's another revolution, it just compounds. And we didn't get to the compound section yet, but you'll get to it and what that means and how powerful it is. But when you have a technological advance on top of a technological advance, so each one gets faster in the rate that it goes exponential in adoption. So think about back when computers were invented, how long it took for that to become a mainstream device. So there's actually a picture, they had like the first computer, I believe it was IBM actually. It was like a huge computer, and that was before everybody had a laptop like they did when Apple really kind of came at the forefront with the iPods, iMacs, and everything like that. So that's what really kicked off the everyday home consumer of having a computer. And if you think about that time and compare it to the timeline of revolutions, think about how quickly after that moment, that social media just like snowballed effect and really gained a lot of steam and adoption, and it just happened very quickly and all of a sudden. But that momentum and that traction was being built up behind the scenes probably for years before that. As you can see, we're not so far off from 10 years ago when social media was really gaining that steam. So you can see every technological advance just keeps getting quicker and quicker, exponential in the sense of how impactful it is on the world and the economies. This industrial revolution that we're heading into is called the fourth industrial revolution, and this one is going to be maybe the biggest one of them all, and there's still time to capitalize on it. So when going forward, when you're learning about the fourth industrial revolution, you can kind of see the patterns playing out, because everything's got patterns playing out, revolutions, cycles on bigger macro scales in the economies. You might want to recall the industrial revolution was not just one revolution, but a series. So you saw revolutions in all kind of industries and sectors. So you saw revolutions in technology, energy, transportation, consumer, agriculture, financial, everything you could think about. So technology, products can be made by machines and not hands. And energy, the steam to power the machines with coal instead of natural resources. And transportation, that improved roads and railroads. And we had that built out across America. And we did have shipping containers now and boats. And we were able to freely have global trade and commerce more in an interconnected way. There was just one piece missing. And now you can freely trade with people across the world, but how can you freely exchange money with other people across the world or businesses if you're doing international business? And that's one of the segments that the fourth industrial revolution is setting out to solve by 2030. And we're going to dive into that in the next video. Right now, we're going to lay out the past so we can predict or forecast a potential future that we could capitalize on. So we're going to dive into it. So key takeaways you want to take from the first industrial revolution, 1760 to 1830. It began in Britain to Europe and it spread throughout the whole entire world. So that period, we harnessed the power of mechanical equipment, water, and steam engines. So those were the most important inventions at that time because it took a lot of human labor out of the processes of making things, producing, manufacturing, and it really was a turning point in the sense of productivity in the US that spread across the world, which boosted the economies and people started feeling good. And we learned in inflation, you know what happens when people start feeling good, right? In a booming economy. So the major shift of technological, socioeconomic, and cultural conditions in the late 18th century was a real big key moment in that time period, in that century. That's when the world as a collective really took a turning point in the sense of evolution and really stepping up humanity in the sense of productivity and what we can create. And as you saw from the first industrial revolution, they harnessed the power of steam and they did a couple things that we may think that right now, hey, yeah, okay, whatever. So, but during that time period, that was like a revolutionary thing. And that's kind of where we're at right now, where you can exchange peer-to-peer directly with no financial intermediary with anybody across the world, freely, securely, safely, and pseudonymously. So then we have the second industrial revolution, and that happened from 1871 to 1914. That was the period we harnessed electric power to create mass production. And these were the most important inventions at that time period in that century. So you had 1760 to 1830 for the first industrial revolution. So that was about 70 years. And then we had the second industrial revolution from 1871 to 1914, and that was about 33 years. So we're seeing that each revolution, the amount of time it lasts for it to really be in full effect, starts to shrink, right? And the amount of impact that these new technological, energy or transportation, consumer, agricultural, commercial, financial, any of these shifts or disruptions or big changes in the way that we harness these things and do these things really starts to compound as you go on to the future and have a bigger impact on the economies and just humanity in whole. It affects a lot of things. Then we dive into the second industrial revolution. That's when steel for railroad tracks and machines and petroleum and electricity led to the introduction of cars and airplanes. That was a huge moment at that time, and that was the second industrial revolution. Along with that, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, railroads, telegraphs, telephones, radios. Now we had a democratization of being able to communicate with one another. There was still no internet at that time, but we still were able to pick up a telephone and call your aunt that may live across the country, right? That's just like when social media came about. Well, instead of have to pick up the telephone, I'm sure if you had one of those spinny telephone things back then, the dials, you had to spin it every time and it would go back. I remember at my parents' house them having that, and that was like something at this time we would laugh about, right? But that was the normal back then. So as you see, as we go on, things start getting better, products start getting more efficient, cheap, safer, durable, and all that in good nature.
If you're new to crypto, or if you've been in crypto for a while and you still don't feel like you have a strategy, then we have the perfect thing for you, because it's one thing to have a strategy, but it's another thing to automate that strategy. So what we're doing right now is a waterfall flash sale. This is the start of week 1. We just launched our Stargate automated experience, which gives you access to utilize our custom automatic trading bots that we built for XRP, XLM, HBAR, Algorand, and a bunch of other altcoins. If you're sick and tired of watching the charts every single day, worrying, stressing, guessing about prices and if it's going to go up or down, then look no further than this, because this is the holy grail for any crypto holder or trader.
Now let's dive into the third industrial revolution, which was from 1914 to 2019. So in that period, that's where we began using the better tools we built in the second revolution. So we just enhanced what we did in the second revolution to make them more efficient, make them more useful, and really kind of turn it up a notch and compound the way it really impacted the way we did things, production or communication, social, economical, all that stuff. So we just built upon that further, right? So we just started building better tools on top of what we built for the second revolution. So we harnessed the power of information. So this was the time of the internet of information and computing. Now we had the computers, communication technology, robots, automation starting from 1950 with the creation of the first general purpose electronic computer. We had automation starting at 1950. So this stuff has been cooking for a while, but there comes a moment where it's the perfect time and the technology is ready for it, and there's needing to be a shift in social, economical, and cultural terms. So these things happen in these moments. So electronic and information technology were the most important inventions and advances of this time that were used to automate production. And automation is the key to more productivity. If you could have just an automated, well-oiled system that just did all your tasks during the day without you even have to double check it, because you programmed it, you automated it to do things off of certain parameters, that's like the golden egg right there. So that's what really increased the production and really drove the economies up and really spurred a lot of economic activity. So during that time was the internet of information. So from the start of computers to the start of email to internets to then social media, there was micro revolutions within these macro revolutions. So if you look at the first industrial revolution, the second, the third, and now coming upon the fourth, you can see that within each macro revolution, there was a smaller revolution taking place. Like you couldn't have email if you didn't have the computer first. So first it's the computer, then it's the email, then it's the internet, then it's social media, now it's Web 3.0. So you can see the mini cycles playing out that then turn into a new macro cycle where a big shift happens. And then as the years go on, that big shift starts to mature and gets advanced and added upon and tailored to what works and what doesn't. Because nothing's gonna ever be perfect during a revolution, right? There's gotta be things tested and tried and just done. It seems like as time goes on, things start getting better and faster the way we do it. It's only likely there'll be a fifth industrial revolution down the line. So the biggest thing was the increased usage of computers, where people finally gained that trust for computers. That's what caused the birth of the internet. And still, every phase during this micro revolutions, there's trust that needs to be built along the way. There's always a narrative playing out like, oh, it's a fad, oh, it's a scam. That's what they said with internet. That's what they said with email. I remember there's like a clip, and I'll pull it up, that you have an anchor of a news show or something like that talking to somebody saying that, oh, well, why would I need the internet, or why would I need an email when I have my envelopes I can send in the mail, right? So I'll pull the video up. But so as we go on, there's that trust that needs to be built within every micro revolution, and then we build within the micro revolutions that macro revolution, and those just keep repeating throughout time. So then along with the internet, we have the satellites. So now we're up in space. We had satellites. We're getting a bird's eye view of the Earth. We had Google Maps, game changer stuff. I remember MapQuest. You remember MapQuest? Not anymore. We got the Google Maps. We got Waze. So this was just game changer during the time, third industrial revolution. And actually going through this, it's like you take some of these inventions and kind of big deal things that change our life in such a big way, like having Google Maps on your phone where it has a satellite in space tracking your direction of where you need to go and giving you the best route according to traffic and everything like that. I'd get lost if I was using a MapQuest paper thing. So third industrial revolution was huge. And you can see that we couldn't have the third industrial revolution though without the second industrial revolution. How, without a telephone, without radios, without these railroads, how would we be able to do all these things in here and have commerce and have the internet with communications and all these things? No, they have to go in order. It's like they're being built upon every single time. So now we could head into the fourth industrial revolution, which is the middle of last century to present day. And the C-19 pandemic put us into that transition. So they're calling it a great reset. So now we're in this transition phase of beginning to go into a new era and into this new industrial revolution. So 2022 is the year we integrate the fourth industrial revolution. And by 2025, it'll all be in place. And by 2030, I believe it'll all be matured. And everything will be kind of running based off of this new fourth industrial revolution system and advancements and inventions that are about to be unfolded. And just like the third industrial revolution built upon the second industrial revolution, the fourth industrial revolution is building right on top of the third industrial revolution. So they're either calling it the digital revolution, the fourth industrial revolution, the great reset. Either way, it's all the same thing. It all points back to what I'm about to show you in the next video. So to give you a little teaser, the fourth industrial revolution's main goal is to bring together the digital, physical, and biological systems. And it doesn't change what we are doing, but it will change ourselves. And that is what I'll leave you off with. Hopefully you'll take what we learned about with the timeline of industrial revolutions and the first, second, and third, apply that to the fourth as you're going through this next video. And you're gonna see the big connections that are being made and everything is gonna come full circle for you. So I'm excited for you to see it and I'll see you in the next video.
Are you sick and tired of just stressing and guessing, holding and hoping, and watching the crypto market go through its ups and downs and not doing anything about it? If you're someone in that position, then look no further than the Stargate automated experience. We just launched it and we built custom automated trading bots for XRP, XLM, HBAR, and a bunch of other utility coins. If that sounds of interest to you and you want to learn more, click the video below and I'll see you over there.